There we go.
Good?
One more time.
All right.
What's up, A to Z Sports Live, Titan Game Day Live, a post-game show. Hey, Titans win at home for the first time this season. The final score in overtime. With all the drama in the world, 20-17, the Titans victorious over the New England Patriots. And now a third of the NFL has 2 wins on the season, including the Tennessee Titans and including the Carolina Panthers. We'll talk about all these things throughout the duration of this post-game show. Here, I'm Austin Stanley alongside Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A2ZSports.com. And we're going to talk through a lot of the emotions and a lot of the drama that was the end of that game, the blown lead the Titans had in the fourth quarter. Drake May taketh and then he giveth away right at the same time. So we're going to have a lot of interesting conversations to have. Easton, before we officially get going here, tell the people what they got to do on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
You got to like the show, guys. Finally. I mean, I say finally. They've done it once this year, but it feels like that was a million years ago.
For me. This is my first post.
This is your first time. That's right. Good point. We're getting to not be just miserable in the post-game show. I'm super excited because I'm savoring each and every one of these this year because there aren't going to be many of them. But man, you got to like the show for us. Like the show. If anything, just because you're in a better mood than you've been most Sundays because of the Titans games, like the show for us. We're going to get into all of the talk about what this does for the Titans tank, what it does for them the rest of this season, how it's a win, but it was ugly. Did it actually mean anything? Does it prove anything for us? So many things to talk about. We can't do it until you like the show for us. So we can see whether you like or not. Like there's a live ticker for us. So come on, let's get this like rolling in here. Come on. There we go. Yep. All right. So let's get after it with the show here, Austin.
All right, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, the Titan Game Day Live post-game show. I'm Austin Stanley alongside Easton Freeze. I want to thank all of our great partners on our Titan Game Day Live pregame, halftime, and postgame show that we do every game day for the Titans all season long. X Golf Nashville and in Murfreesboro, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. X Golf, play, train, entertain, playxgolf.com. BetMGM, log in today and get your Pro Football Boost Pack to acquire tokens for more winnings. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. And T-Dot, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com. It is the T-Dot post-game show here live on this Sunday. The Titans are 2-6 on the season, a 20-17 win. That went into overtime because Drake May made an incredible play, an incredible drive at the end of regulation to tie the game with triple zeros on the clock. I thought for a second, Easton, first quick miniature topic of the show.
Okay.
Should Gerard Mayo have gone for 2 at the end of regulation? It was 17-16, which was my pregame score prediction, 17-16. Should they have gone for 2 and avoid overtime? Or was the Patriots rookie head coach correct to kick the extra point to play OT?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, when you're a bad team, or I guess what I should say, if you are the underdog on the road and you've got a chance to go for 2 and win the game at the end of the game, that's typically a go for it spot.
Yes.
It kind of felt like dealer's choice to me because both teams had really struggled to score. You had just gotten really lucky once with the actual touchdown pass. You'd kind of be pushing your luck there. And again, as the Patriots, you had done a decent job of keeping the Titans from scoring. And so they probably felt like if we just win this coin toss, we very well could go down and score, win the game. So kind of a coin toss thing for me. I don't hate either decision. I understand why he did what he did. I don't know. Do you have a strong take on it?
You go for 2. You absolutely go for 2. Here's the one thing. You absolutely go for 2 in that spot for the Patriots. Why I don't think they did is because of how long that last play lasted. It lasted about 17 seconds. And Drake May and everybody else ran around in circles over and over. He's going
to do the Anthony Richardson, tap me out, coach.
No, I'm out of breath. Drake May was exhausted.
Yeah,
he was flat out exhausted after that play. They should have gone for 2. I don't think they did because Drake May was flat out exhausted. If it was a regular, like, catch the shotgun snap, look around, make a read, throw it, then they go for 2. But I think he was just flat out gassed.
But also, they were definitely thinking if we win this coin toss, we can easily go win the game.
Yeah, but now you're putting it into a coin toss. Or you can say, can we get 2 yards to either win or lose right now?
Yeah, so, I'm saying I get either way. I understand why you did what
you go for 2. If I would go for 2, I understand if my QB.
Okay, but you're literally saying in this case you don't because your quarterback's too gassed.
No, I think that's
made the right decision.
I would go for 2. I think that's
even though you would have. Even with how gassed Drake May was, you
yeah,
would've?
because you get a second to take, it doesn't immediately go to like the play clock. Like I
Okay.
mean, it would have been tougher, but that is my analysis on why I think they didn't. But anyway, the Titans are victorious
Doesn't
because
matter. Doesn't matter.
yeah, the combination of Mason Rudolph and Tony Pollard take the Titans down the football field, and they're able to survive a fumbled kickoff return, survive a fumbled center snap, a quarterback exchange, and then Nick Folk kicks a field goal, and then for whatever reason, Drake May decides to air it out down the field to Amani Hooker for his second interception of the game.
Rookie moment there.
Yeah, the Titans do win. So Easton, your big picture analysis of this Titans win, the second of the season for Brian Callahan and his crew.
My big picture analysis is that this was just such a desperately needed win for the Titans. There are going to be some fans that are very mad about this. There are going to be some that are downright furious. And that's largely because of the tank situation, which we'll talk about where they are in the draft standings here in a minute. But as for everybody in the building, all of the players, all of the coaches, everybody in the front office, everybody wearing two-tone blue today, they needed this one so bad. And it's not even so much as they needed this as a momentum builder, but this win feels like the first solid footing they've had this season. Kind of at all, right? Like it feels like the first somewhat quality win, because that Miami win, everybody kind of understood that was Fugazi at the time. You know, it was a very weird circumstance. And so you felt good about it to get the win on paper, but it wasn't a hard-earned win by any means. This one feels like a real win. You know, you're beating a real team with their real starting quarterback who had just beaten a Jets team who is also a real team that had already beaten you. So like this is a real win that you feel like as a coach or as a player, you've stopped the backsliding a little bit. You can breathe. You're no longer desperately treading water. And beyond that, Austin, this game top to bottom just felt like the same rerun of every Titans movie we've seen this year, except for the ending finally wasn't a complete and utter disaster, right? Because
almost was.
No, they tried real hard to just rerun the same thing we've seen, but they managed to avoid it. Finally in week 9, they managed to avoid it. And, we'll go through all the numbers we went through at halftime, but if they had lost this game, it would have been another instance of, well, the Titans were the better team, but they turned the ball over, or that, because of one thing they lost. They did everything right except for this one thing. But all of the counting metrics, all of the counting stats, they were the better team and deserved to win.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at the stats. Mason Rudolph was 20 of 33, hit my completion over for 240 yards. He had 2 touchdown passes, had the 1 interception off of Chig's hands. I put fault on both Mason Rudolph and Chig for that interception. Was sacked just 1 time and lost 7 yards. Tony Pollard, 28 carries for 128 yards. Also added in the air 3 catches for 26 yards. NWI 5 for 50 and a touchdown. His 4th straight game with a touchdown. Nick Vannett 2 for 33. Calvin Ridley 5 for 73 on 8 targets, including a big catch for 16 yards in overtime. A couple of nice catches in overtime. 1 to convert the 3rd down. And then outside of Drake May running the ball for 95 yards, the Titans defense was phenomenal. Ramondre Stevenson had 10 carries for 16 yards. And then Drake May threw for 206 yards on 40 pass attempts and was sacked 4 times and was intercepted twice. And so I think very impressive overall. They left a lot of points on the field. If you look at the box score, the Titans should have won by 2 scores in regulation. They left some points out there, but I think overall it was a complete game with a lot of potential and almost like accidentally kicking it over the cliff. It's right. They've kicked it over the cliff a couple times this season when they've had halftime leads, but this time they actually caught themselves. They almost dropped it and caught it before it shattered on the floor.
It's hard to explain, right? Because this has been a thing for multiple weeks in a row now, where actually a lot of the season, where it's like this Titans team, man, there's so many flashes of good, and you can see what they're getting at. It's in there, but it's shrouded by them being just dumb enough to lose the game. And then today, you saw a lot of good, and it was shrouded by almost being dumb enough to lose the game, but not quite.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's get you guys involved here. We always like to play this game in the post-game show, win or lose for the Titans. But what is one word to describe the Titans win in overtime over the Patriots? What is one word to describe the Titans win over the Patriots. The first time I've gotten to do this all season long because Easton, you and Sam did the post-game show for the Dolphins game. So my first time.
You and I were running out of words in the thesaurus to redefine bad, terrible, awful, devastating. We used them all.
Yep, we absolutely did. All right, so one word to describe this Titans win, 20-17 in overtime over the Tennessee Titans. And I will tell you my one word, and we'll get to your answers here in a second. But first, T-Dot, we want to have you guys be rewarded for helping keep Tennessee clean. Nobody Trashes Tennessee has Trash Masters reward program. By signing up, you can earn points for every action you take, from taking a litter quiz to participating in community cleanups. And those points you can redeem for fantastic prizes like discounts, tickets to local events, as well as some Nobody Trashes Tennessee swag. It's Nobody Trashes Tennessee's way of saying thank you for keeping our state beautiful. And visit NobodyTrashesTennessee.com to become a Trash Master today with T-Dot here. Nobody Trashes Tennessee. So, Easton, I will get to you, to the chat, one word to describe the Titans win over the New England Patriots, 20-17 in overtime. What are you seeing in the comment section here?
I'm going to go rapid fire because we've got a bunch of them. Needed, hopeful, finally, seriously, lucky, wild, competitive, yay, question mark, sarcastic, yay, exhausting, why, barely, lucky, stressful, poo, clutch, tragic, proof.
We're gonna come back to
we'll come back to the proof is an interesting one. Yep. Legendary, comical, a couple of yay question marks, useless, ugly, confusing, indifferent, relief, appreciated. So a common theme, a common thread there with these responses, kind of some mixed emotions, I think, from folks. Austin, my answer is necessary. Kind of what I already burned it a little bit, but this is just such a badly needed win for this team. And I know that a lot of people have already personally turned the page on this quarterback or this player or this team or this staff or this GM, or maybe just everything about them. They've turned the page. The jury is in for them. But in the real world, the jury is still out on this coaching staff, on this front office. The person who is the actual executioner here, the judge, Amy Adams Strunk, she's not firing anybody today. And so the jury is still out here, and they are being given, at least on paper, the rest of this season to prove some things. And so that thread of proof is something we're going to discuss, Austin. But I think in their pursuit of proof, today was a very, very necessary win.
So necessary, I think, is a good word. I think I agree that the judge, jury, and executioner and Amy Adams Strunk is not going to be taking any action today. Mm-hmm. I mean, man, if they
has anyone ever been fired after a win?
Mike Mularkey. Well, no, not directly after.
Right, I'm talking about like the Monday after a win. Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, actually.
Okay, not at the end of the season. In season firing.
In season
on a
fired
Monday.
After a win. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened.
Okay, sorry.
Trying to break my narrative here.
Right. I mean, if it was 18-17, the Patriots go for 2 and get it at the end of the game, and it's 1-7 Titans, like, oh man, do heads roll? Like, because Shrike brings up Colt Anderson. Does Colt Anderson survive another week of being
he's going to sleep like a baby tonight? Yes, he survives.
I don't know about that.
No, I think he is. I think he feels good about himself.
He shouldn't, because
I'm not saying he
punt
should.
return unit gave him 25 yards to get them to midfield. So Drake May only needed 50 yards for a game-tying or game-winning touchdown drive there. But so my one word is progress. And I'm leaving it at progress. Progress doesn't mean fixed. Progress doesn't mean solution. Progress doesn't mean you've arrived. It just means you've taken some type of movement toward the right direction. Progress. And it's not a lot. It's a little bit, because they at least learned how to not lose a game. They got so close to continuing to do what they've done and flat out lose a game that they had for no reason. They, Will Levis throw it up in the air in Chicago, and this team was 0-1. You had some situations within that early in the Jets game, and then it was 0-2. And I don't know where Easton ran to, but I'm sure he'll be back here in a second. But progress was my one word for this, because it's not fixed, but at least now you get to go back to the facility the next day and find out how you can look at this and fix things after a win overall. But they were so close to flat out giving this football game away. Is everything okay? I mean, I don't know if is everything okay at your house? Is everything okay at your house?
Everything's false alarm. We're good. There was a cry for help. Didn't realize I was on the show. A lot of babies spit up everywhere, but not an emergency.
Okay, everything's good.
It's a big mess, but nobody's hurt.
Okay, everything is all set. I'm guessing the Titans won, so you probably didn't sound angry. Therefore, it wasn't understood that you were
Usually, it's easy to tell when we're on because we're in here screaming at each other.
Yes,
right?
For
exactly.
sure. All right. So my one word is progress. Not a lot of it, but steps forward. So I think progress is a good one. I did see Bork's comment. He did say in the pregame show, the first to 20 wins.
He did say this. Well done.
He absolutely nailed it. Let's see. B-Bird says, broke the curse, but seriously, what a mess. 4 seconds. The best defense couldn't hold the line and protect the house for 4 seconds. Pretty tough, man.
I actually think that plays less of an. I mean, I think I poked fun at the whole best defense thing there too. Actually,
yeah.
That's a play calling thing for me. That specific play you sent because they sent 3, right?
I'll have to go back and look, but I don't remember.
Assuming I'm right and you send 3, I don't like that at all. You're just giving them all the time in the world to scramble drill in the end zone. And because I saw the Next Gen Stat account on Twitter put this out there.
Says yes, they sent 3.
Yeah, Drake May scrambled for 11.82 seconds before finding Ramondre Stevenson in the end zone for a 5-yard game time touchdown. Second longest time to throw on a touchdown pass, not just this year, but in the Next Gen Stats era since 2016, trailing only Jaden Daniels' Hail Mary from last week. So the number 1 and number 2 longest time to throw have been set in the last 7 days. And one of those, you understand, like, of course you had all the time in the world to throw. It was a Hail Mary attempt. They only send 3, right? That happens. This was
I hate that. I
know
that.
You hate this, but at least we see that and it's acceptable in people's minds. This was
again,
on the 5-yard line.
No, it's only sending 3 for a Hail Mary is not acceptable.
And I talked about this. We agree.
And 4. I think in this situation, sending 3 is excusable because Drake May had like 90 yards rushing on you. And if you send 4, maybe that 4th is a spy. I don't know. I mean, that game was so wild and that play was so wild. I'll have to go back and again, look at
digest it
one more time to kind of see what was going on there. But all right. So I do want to get to, did your parlay hit? Because Nando says Easton's parlay hit.
No, it didn't. And so we've swapped roles, Austin. Last week, we both had parlays. Yours came 1 leg short. Mine hit. This week, mine came 1 leg short. Yours hit. So I don't even know if people understand it on the thing because you were tailing my parlay in real time as we ended the stream.
Mm-hmm.
You ended up going with a different 4th leg because I bet on a different platform that had a 4th leg that yours didn't have. So yours hit, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, mine did hit.
So the legs we had in common that all hit relatively easily were both quarterbacks over rushing, which both of those hit on the first 2 drives of the game.
The first drive for each team.
For each team. Yeah. And then Tony Pollard over 2.5 receptions. He had 3, said we needed to get to 3, had 3. And then my 4th leg was Ramondre Stevenson over 14.5 rush attempts. Only got to 10. I was really honestly surprised by how pass heavy they were, considering the fact that they were either tied or down 3 or up for most of the game. I figured they'd have pounded the rock a little bit more, but got to respect that number 1 Titans defense, rush defense, baby. So
my last leg was under 43.
Right. And they finished right at 37. So yeah, well done.
And
what were the odds on that one? Because mine was plus 1,000.
Plus 531.
Okay. That's still nice. That's a nice payday.
I'll take my $20 that turned into 126.
Hey, but one of my bets did hit. My first bet that I handed out, which was you got to take the NWI anytime touchdown. Come on, baby. Come on. 4 weeks in a row. It's free money, folks. You're turning down free money.
All right, let's talk about Mason Rudolph because he also hit one of my bets that was over 18.5 completions on the day. He finished the official stat and needed overtime. That's what they call it, overtime. But he had overtime to get 20 out of 33 for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, ran the ball 4 times for 19 yards. Let's grade Mason Rudolph's performance today because I've seen Karen says Mason's
had the craziest run I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
He shook a guy, spin moved past a guy, and then reverse hurdled a guy backwards.
That's wild.
People, you're going to see it all over Twitter in 10 seconds, folks. I'm so sorry to interrupt our flow of thought here.
Let's grade Mason Rudolph's performance. Again, 240 yards passing, 19 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, the 1 interception that was a combo fault between he and Chig, 20 of 33 passing. So grading Mason Rudolph's performance. I'm seeing the letter grades come in. Also, make sure you hit that like button, like the show. Please like the show. It goes a long way for us. Easton, I'm going to go through the early grade that I see. Guy says B minus. Matt says B plus for Mason. Joey says C plus. Corey says Titans legend elite Mason. Yeah. Kyle 66 says C. Fire Titan 19 says B. Astro Eric says C. Memory Mix says B. Brian and Steve both coming in with C's. Marshall Joseph has a B. Corey is a C plus. Chandler says B because he prevented the backup center from ruining the entire day. I think that's not a bad comment there because there were so many high snaps.
It is a good thing Mason Rudolph is 6'5". I mean, if he's 6'2", at least a couple of those balls are way back there.
And in Mark Schlereth's words, he used every ounce of his 6'5" frame.
He really did.
Mark Schlereth, man.
Your favorite guy.
Pastor Raymond says B. Henry says B. So does Darius, Joseph, Drew, all B's. Jerome, B. Daniel says B minus. So I'm seeing a lot of, B minus still had turnover worthy plays from Chris Bork. So Easton, what is your grade of Mason Rudolph?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the highest quarterback grade I've given out all year. Really low bar, so it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving him a flat B. I think that was a B performance. Best quarterback performance of the season, start to finish. There have been some better quarters and drives, but start to finish, that was the best we've seen. He was efficient. He was the model version of Mason Rudolph that you signed up for in free agency, right? He was that top 5 backup. There you see the deficiencies, kind of a noodle arm when you've got to throw the ball really far downfield in unique circumstances. Going to make a couple of passes that are just off the mark and may result in a fluky turnover like you had in the end zone. But other than those low ceiling moments, man, he's just solid. And he made a couple of big throws when he needed to. An underrated element to his game. He's not the most mobile guy in the world. He's good for a scamper here and there. I'd say he's middle of the road in terms of mobility. But pocket mobility, Austin, his ability to keep his eyes downfield and navigate the pocket. There were 3 or 4 times today, and I can't wait to go watch the tape and grab these, where he really effortlessly helped the Titans' offensive line. The way that he shifted in the pocket created a full tick or 2 or 3 extra for himself to get a ball downfield. It was the part of his game that was the most impressive to me. Some savvy veteran movement back there from him.
I think this is interesting. Mason Rudolph has now played, he said 3 starts, and he played a lot against the Miami Dolphins, right?
Almost 4 games, right?
How many times do you think Mason Rudolph has been sacked in basic, let's just call it 4 games, because Levis played 11 snaps, right?
Right.
4 games. How many times do you think Mason Rudolph has been sacked in all 4 of those games?
I know it's a low number. I mean, I feel like it's been 1 sack a game, so I'll say 4.
It's 5.
Okay, 5. Yeah, 1 today, I think. Just 1.
Well, technically 6 because the one today hasn't uploaded into his game log yet. So 6. 1 in each of the games against the Patriots, the Lions, and the Dolphins. He was sacked 3 times against the Bills, but that was the Nicholas Petit-Frere game. That was the Jalen Duncan starts and pulls his hamstring on play 4, and NPF just looks awful. And then NPF
your current starting right tackle is inactive for some godforsaken reason.
Who?
Leroy Watson.
He was inactive? No, he was active.
That was the game where he was inactive.
Oh, yeah.
On that day, the guy who should have been your backup was inactive for some godforsaken reason.
So that's the game that he only got sacked more than 1 time.
Yeah.
So, because I think the part that you're bringing up is that he does help his offensive line. So you're giving Mason Rudolph a flat B.
Flat B.
I really want to do it.
Consider the rest of the NFL. Let's not Titans echo chamber ourselves here.
I know.
That was a solid backup day of quarterback. The
Patriots defense isn't bad either.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's pretty middle of the road.
How many drops did the Titans pass catchers have? There was a couple pretty big drops.
Well, so do you consider the Chig one's not a drop? That's a bad pass. I guess it's both, right? It's a bad pass and a drop.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Ridley
dropped.
I don't know. So what was Ridley's besides the one that he slid and had in his breadbasket?
The deep down the field when Ridley got popped in the chest.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That was a less of a. People say now I'm a Mason bootlicker. If I compliment any quarterback team, I'm a bootlicker.
If you think Easton's a Mason Rudolph bootlicker, watch me real quick.
Okay. If you give him an A anything, I'm going to make fun of you. It can't be more than a B plus, Austin. This is NFL football we're talking about. There's Patrick Mahomes playing ball, Lamar Jackson. Those guys get A's. This was not an A. He didn't even have 250 yards passing.
A minus. A minus Mason Rudolph.
You're making a fool of yourself.
No, I'm not.
It's foolish.
The right tackle sucks, whether it's J.O. or Leroy Watson.
Don't care.
It's
painfully obvious you've been watching only Titans, or not only, but like painfully obvious that your job is to watch
Titans
the Titans
and Tennessee Vols foot quarterbacking.
Right. It's painfully obvious that that's the world you're living in right now.
Seriously. Mason Rudolph made so many plays that go completely unnoticed. And I think Mason Rudolph was why they won the game. There is zero chance that Will Levis survives that long without doing something stupid that Drake May did. It is,
that has no bearing on Mason's grade.
I think Mason. Okay, I was thinking B minus, but then I kept thinking back.
B minus, than me.
I'm sorry, B plus. I kept thinking back. B plus. But bad snap here, bad snap there. Key moments, bad snaps. Overcoming dumb offensive line penalties. Overcoming dropped passes. At least 3 of them. I think this was an A minus grade.
Also, because he had a running back go for 128 yards today. It was relatively helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And Tony Pollard was phenomenal too. But I think Mason Rudolph deserves an A minus effort today.
All right. You're the reason that our eggs cost $7.
They had a backup right guard, a rotating door at right tackle with 2 players, and a backup center. And Mason Rudolph was able to stand strong, only got sacked 1 time, saved Corey Levin's ass about 5 times from bad snaps, and was able to complete the pass. Down the field.
Henry's all over it. This is battered Titans fan syndrome. Battered
I'm not a Titans fan. I'm so
battered Titans watcher syndrome.
Yes, that's fair. Kick of the king. You are nuts, Austin. Maybe, but
I think everybody in the chat understands that my B is a very
Mason Rudolph was very good. I think here's the
grade.
difference.
B is what he got.
Your B, you did not talk quality enough about your B. And so I thought that a B plus was not enough difference in how you talked about your B grade for Mason Rudolph.
I ranted and raved about how savvy a veteran he was back there.
I know, but all you did was just
the Titans
up
with
my
the
grade.
snaps.
You just upped my grade because Mason Rudolph was phenomenal today.
He was not phenomenal.
Yes, he was.
That's crazy. Your generation. No, Austin, your generation makes fun of my generation all the time for using like the word awesome for everything and talking about how it's the best thing ever and how we water things down in society. You're going to use phenomenal on that quarterback performances. I mean, are you the guy
in the moment?
Do you pick a generational quarterback in every draft? Because that's what you sound like.
No.
I'm
not don't go that crazy. I'm not like
that's just what you sound like.
I'm saying Mason Rudolph for being Mason Rudolph and for having a backup players on the center and right guard, right tackle, and having a terrible snaps against a pretty good defense, and being in a spot where it was tight and he was having guys drop passes. I absolutely think Mason Rudolph deserves an A minus.
Austin, if that's quote unquote phenomenal, what do we call the best
phenomenal
ever
for
Patrick
Mason
Mahomes,
Rudolph?
the best ever Lamar Jackson? What are those games called?
I have different expectations for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has had a really weird year.
So are you saying you don't have your quarterback grading scale is dependent on the person? Because that's not the question. Are you saying that was an A? That was an A minus Mason Rudolph? I'm saying
game? Yes, an A. Yes, I do. I think for the Tennessee Titans, that's the best quarterback performance all season long. And there's some things that he had to save because the Titans were 1 play away from losing the entire game. And Mason Rudolph was able to save the football security on like 6 plays with a backup center.
All right. This is the chat clearly agrees with me. They think you're crazy. Who cares? This doesn't matter. Let's talk about the rest of the game.
All right. That's fine. Okay. So we had a conversation during the pregame show of the best case scenario of this game. And it didn't automatically mean a win. So I want to get to that. we said this needs to be a proof of concept game for this Titans coaching staff. Did this play out to be a proof of concept game for this Titans coaching staff? That's what we want to get to. It's a yes or no. Is this a proof of concept game with a 20-17 overtime win over the Patriots? Yes or no? Is this proof of concept? Real quick, let me remind you guys about X Golf. They're our X Factor pregame show sponsor, and we want to revisit that. So xgolfnashville.com, or excuse me, playxgolf.com is where you go. X Golf Nashville and in Murfreesboro, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. If you want to get out there as the weather does get cooler eventually and not have to stop your golf game this fall and this winter, X Golf is a place to go. It's a great sports bar with the best top of the line golf simulators right there in there. You can book a bay online, playxgolf.com in both Nashville and Murfreesboro. Holiday parties are close, man. It is November. That means holiday parties, start playing that stuff. And you can do that at X Golf in Nashville, Murfreesboro, online, playxgolf.com. So Easton, I don't know if there's anything in the chat that comes to your attention, but was this a proof of concept game?
Yeah, I mean,
the Titans coaching?
The chat is some yeses and a lot of nos.
Okay.
Trying to think, is there anything? I mean, so like Pastor Raymond says no, still ugly football. But I mostly knows.
Because this is a offensive geared question, right? So like we're not.
Jason says yes, but Rudolph is going back to the bench next week, which I assume he's insinuating. I wonder if it matters now that Mason will be benched, which is a fair question. We'll discuss that as well, but. I don't know. I have a unique answer to this, Austin, because I think you and everybody are expecting me to cape for my guy, Brian Callahan, and talk about how his team's awesome. The bones are great. It's not exactly my answer. Okay. So would you like me to go first, or would you like to go?
Yeah. I just put up a YouTube poll. So if you're watching on YouTube, 1, like the show, 2, vote in the poll.
Okay, so I know that on Friday, it was Sam and I on the morning show. Mm-hmm. You were traveling. Yeah. Did you catch any of that show?
I forget. I think I did, but not much.
Okay. So for those that didn't catch it, including you, Austin, I ran down a long laundry list of pros and cons, the pros and cons list for Brian Callahan and Ran Carthon so far this season. Did you hear that part of my?
I did hear the beginning of it. Yes. I did.
Okay, so basically my answer is that I think that it was a proof of concept for everything in the pro column, and was definitively not a proof of concept for anything in the con column. Put it a different way, the things that I think they have done well so far, this game further solidified my opinion. They do those things well. And the things that I want to see them do, they didn't do any of them. So I'm kind of in the same spot that I was. And
so no, so you're flat out, your answer is no.
I don't know. So let me explain my thinking and you tell me. We did this the other week where you give me my answer.
Yeah.
Because put simply, my point on Friday was that the things that are in this pro column, not only are there more of them than there are cons, in my opinion, but I think the more important things are in the pro column, right? It is, does this scheme work? Did the offensive guy you brought in to be your head coach and scheme the team up? Is the offensive scheme modern, creative, effective, efficient? That I think we saw in this game. Did you see resiliency from this team for the first time? Yeah, you saw them get punched in the face and not actually die in the street like a dog. So like that matters, I think. I wish I had that list in front of me. What were the other things that I said? I guess my point is that the cons were more procedural things,
right?
You know, like like timeout management, certain situational decision making, stuff that falls less under offensive guru head coach and more under just like generic head coachy things.
Like inexperienced head coach making things that he hasn't had to do yet.
Right. And so part of my point was just that, Austin, was that it kind of like when you get a tackle in the draft and everybody talks about, well, he's a great pass protector, really raw in the run game, but who cares? You'd much rather have a guy you got to teach up as a run blocker than teach up as a pass protector, right?
Yeah, the whole like, I can coach you to run routes, I can't coach your speed.
Totally. For me, with a head coach acquisition in today's NFL, what matters most to me is getting the guy that has that special sauce with what they do. Usually it's as an offensive guru, as somebody that is scheming up and calling the plays, right? And then they can figure out how to do the generic head coachy things down the road. Because with a Mike Vrabel, for example, he's never going to turn, Mike Vrabel is never going to turn into a play calling guru. That's not how it works, right? But the idea is Brian Callahan can learn how to manage timeouts and make good situational decisions and manipulate the rule book and do all those little quirky coaching things. So I didn't see any progress on those quirky coaching things. I didn't see any progress with them avoiding getting the clock running down too low and getting delay of game, not making a couple of stupid decision or stupid mistakes over again that you kind of like, well, that seems like a bad coaching kind of thing. I didn't see that, but I did see a lot of the things that I think work and I believe in. So I don't really know what my answer is. I guess it's sort of a proof of concept, but I still got a lot of questions.
I think your answer has to be no, because you already knew this stuff. Like if it reconfirmed what you already knew, then it just didn't give you anything else.
But it's kind of like I thought it, and now I feel like I know it.
Yeah.
My argument was predicated off of largely 2 games against awesome teams where it was really just a half of football and then they got creamed and couldn't adjust. So I was like, I think it works. In this game, I saw that it does work. So I don't know. I feel like people understand the binary yes or no for the sake of the game, we can figure out. But I think people understand my point here, that it's somewhere in between.
Right. I'm with you. I get the logic on that. So
what's your answer? It's hard, right?
It's because it was still so sloppy. But if we're
ugly. It was ugly.
If we're focusing on the offense, right? Mm-hmm. I'm having a hard time with this because they gained a ton of yards, right? Like they're gaining yards, like they're doing good things
and efficient, over 5 yards per play, scoring touchdowns.
Tony Pollard's very good.
Yep.
Tony Pollard's a dude.
Calvin Ridley had a second straight good game. NWI had his most impressive game this year. They're making do without some of their offensive linemen that you would think, like, past Titans teams, you lose your center and you lose your right guard, the game might be over then and there, and they still found a way to make it happen.
They were 7 of 16 on third down.
Yeah. So like on paper, it was not nearly as ugly on paper as it felt watching it. I think we can agree there.
Ran for 167. I guess, yeah. I guess it has to be yes.
It was like the ugliest possible proof of concept.
It's the most prototype. It's the least confident proof I've ever had in some experiment.
It's the rough draft you turned in for your English paper, and the teacher gave you back a passing mark, but that thing has got red marks all over it. You got a lot to fix.
Now, Strike says, stop focusing on the offense. Callahan has proven he's a solid / good OC, still has the same errors as a head coach. But we asked the question.
Agree on that. People don't agree on that, by the way.
Right, but we asked the question in the pregame show about the offense. So I think that's why we have to answer the question in the postgame show about the offensive coaching staff.
But I also caution Strike to think we all agree that he's a good OC. I saw at the beginning of our show, I saw a million people, despite the win, criticizing the play calling and thinking Callahan doesn't know what he's doing.
Okay.
So I don't think we all agree on this. The penalties are a big thing. You want to talk about a good or a bad coach team, the penalties are something we should mention. Those numbers
Steve says the red zone's an issue.
Is it?
Scoring in the red zone?
I think it's more a goal line issue than it is a red zone issue. And so obviously goal
finishing, line which is the most important part of the field. And so
but it's an issue on not goal line, short yardage is what I mean. Short yardage anywhere on the field right, it's magnified on the goal line, but I think short yardage anywhere on the field, they're quite bad.
But I think, and that's like, and I tweeted this, they ran the reverse, the double reverse pass to Chig, and then they kicked the 21-yard field goal. It's like, it sucks that you used a brilliant play.
Actually, they scored a touchdown, and they got called back because of a stupid holding.
Right.
Yeah,
so, but again, like that was on Wiley, and
it was a real holding. They just did stupid execution. Good play call that got ruined by one guy.
Yeah. So, they had 10 penalties for 67 yards. The Patriots had 8 for 58. Because I saw this comment from I think Jensen's been commenting it a lot. He says if the Pats have less penalties, the Titans wouldn't win. The Titans had more penalties than the Patriots did.
And if the Titans had less penalties, they win harder. So, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah. I think it's like, was there a penalty that was just like egregiously bad call? I don't think so.
No, usually in a game that has 15 penalties or whatever it was, I'm furious at the refs for not letting them just play. But every single one, 18. I was like, come on. Well, actually,
18 penalties.
Right. On a lot of those in the second half. I mean, it's that one drive, the opening Patriots drive of the second half, where I think, was it every single play there was a penalty on somebody? It kept going back and forth. Offense.
There was a couple that weren't, but yeah.
It felt like all of them. I mean, if it was a 10-play drive, 7 of those had penalties. So, but yeah, it was a lot of
Jensen
penalties.
Says like, the Patriots had
play, and then we watched the replay, and I was like, you do have to call that.
The Patriots had a touchdown called back. So the Titans, man, like that evens stuff out. So like Jensen can get all, I don't know what narrative you're trying to ride with your spamming of the chat of
Titans got lucky. The narrative.
Titans got lucky because the Patriots had penalties. The Titans had, you know what, Jensen, I'm going to remove the on purpose penalty the Titans took for the delay game to make the punt easier. And they still had one more penalty than the Patriots did. So
for more yards.
Yes. Who cares about that one? So look, there's Edward super chats. I gotta win it. So many pointless penalties, no pass, even with a win.
He's not giving him a pass for that one.
Okay, fair. Because I don't think the Titans would have won if they played this game against any of the other NFL teams. They probably lose. Maybe.
I don't know about any.
Maybe the Dolphins again.
Panthers
won today.
Yeah, but have you watched them the rest of the year? You can beat the Panthers with that performance.
Panthers scored more points today than the Titans did against the Saints.
They also played the Saints, who have lost 7 games in a row and are broken fundamentally
and literally, physically and fundamentally and mentally broken.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh man,
is there more beatdown fan base? Because at least Titans fans, like out of the gate, had reasons for negativity. The Saints won their first 2 games by 1 billion points, and we're like, oh yeah, here we are. Everybody thought we sucked in the offseason, and they have been a disaster for 2 months since then.
We forgot something, Easton.
What'd you say? Ooh, about
what did I text you late last night? Text to you and Sam.
I have no idea. What did you
Vandy
say?
Win. Check.
Oh, that's right.
Check.
Hey.
Titans win. Check.
Big Nashville weekend. Tennessee weekend.
Yes. So the first time
that happened, you have that number?
Yep. I got it in my brain.
Okay.
November 12th and November 13th, 2022.
That's right. We looked this up.
We are 9 days away, 10 days away from 2 full calendar years since Vandy, the Vols, and the Titans won a football game in the same weekend.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Wow.
And Henry says the Vols barely beat Kentucky, but it counts.
I was about to say, none of the 3 games were all sweaty. They were all sweaty.
The Vols won by the most points out of all of them, I think. Didn't Vandy just win at 17-10 against Auburn?
Yeah.
So 10 points, 7 points, and 3 points. So they're all pretty tight.
Hey, win's a win.
Tight. Win's a win. A win is a win is a win. So
people in the comments, by the way, wanting us to talk about Brian Callahan purportedly being very emotional in his press conference.
Yeah, neither of us have been able to see it because we've been live this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, all I'll say is I think it points to what I said at the very beginning of the show is that for all as furious as the fans are, I can't tell you how much this win matters to the people in that building. Of course he is. I mean, he's sitting there on the sideline wondering if his dream to be a head coach is going to end before the season ends. And like, he knows this is a game you got to get. So this is it is just one win against a bad football team, but this is such a burden off the shoulders of some genuinely talented people in that building and good people. I understand it's like, who cares? It's a process. It's a results business, which I understand, but you got to feel good for the people involved here, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. We're done with our, segments that we have. Sharuko asked, the super chat that I have to get to. I think Buck/A to Z has that on Twitter feeds, so you can go check that out as well.
Did Memphis, the football team, win this week? I think they did, right?
Oh, well, I mean, Anthony's talking about the Memphis Grizzlies.
I know, but I'm wondering
about football.
Well, I'm just wondering if every sports team won this weekend in the whole state, because I think Memphis won in football. I think the Grizzlies. I know the Grizzlies won in basketball.
I don't care about the Grizzlies or the Preds when we're talking about football stats.
The Preds also won last night.
Preds won last night because
I think everyone won. Is the point here? Is that the entire state? Did nothing to win this weekend.
We have to get MTSU involved. If you like, here's the problem.
Did they win? Do you know?
MTSU, they were tied late. Maybe
they all won. Man, I don't know.
All right, I will look.
This is an article. If everyone in the whole state won.
All right. So I'm looking for. I'm just in the top 25.
Yeah, they won yesterday. Beat UTEP by a touchdown.
Okay. So Memphis is winners.
Who else do you have to consider? Did the Mocs play?
No, they're. Where did MTSU go? I saw an MTSU score somewhere. MTSU beat UTEP. That's right. So now we're looking for Memphis.
I'm wondering. I mean, yeah, Memphis football. Did they win?
Memphis lost to UTSA.
Son of a.
So that's why I'm sticking to the 3 teams that are the biggest.
Hey, we almost had something there. All right.
No, you got to keep it tighter, right?
Vols.
Yeah, Sean.
Grizzlies,
ETSU lost.
Titans.
Somebody check the Carson Newman score.
Oh, it's funny. It's just good. Listen, it was worth checking. All right.
The biggest brands in the Nashville area is the ones that we focused on, and the biggest. And if we want to get like, oh, the Vols are in Knoxville, they're the biggest brand in the Nashville area. I think don't deny that. Yeah. Yes, across the entire state. So, all right, East, I'm going to ask you this question. You guys in the chat can answer it as well, if you want. Who is a guy that deserves a shout out for his role in today's win that we haven't talked about yet? Just so you can think about it for a second. A Titans player, coach, whoever, that we have not discussed yet on this postgame show in 46 minutes and change that deserves credit, a shout out.
I mean, like, there are 2 obvious answers. Actually, there's only one obvious answer because we've talked about, obviously, Tony Pollard, shout out every week for Affinity.
Yeah. Tony Pollard doesn't count. We talked about him. Yeah.
I mean, how is it not NWI?
Yeah. I mean,
how's it not?
We touched a little bit.
We touched on it. Yeah. So, like, if we don't want to count him either, but we should.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
If we want to give real answers in a second, we can. But NWI, man, number 2 receiver on the day, caught 5 of 6 targets for 50 yards, had a touchdown, obviously. Again, he's now up to 8 catches on the year. Every single one is a touchdown or a first down.
One's not.
Oh, that's right. The last one of the game that he caught, right? Yeah.
It was the one, where his elbow was down.
Yep. Okay, so 8 of his 9 catches this year are touchdowns or first downs.
Yes.
But man, yeah, he was very, very good. So who else deserves a shout out?
I've got one.
Well, let me think about it while you go then.
Some people are bringing up Amani Hooker. Amani Hooker with 2 interceptions, right? That Amani Hooker's just played good football the entire
Amari Hooker, excuse you.
Armani.
I can't even get the fake name right.
Get Armani on the phone. Where's Armani? You
That's
have no idea what that's from.
No. That was a reference?
It was absolutely a reference. It was actually a reference to a movie and a TV show.
Are you going to tell me or?
No, I'm just going to let you sit there and
chat.
be frustrated with it.
Help me out. I need to know where that was from.
But Amani Hooker, great.
That's your answer?
The guy, no, that was going to be my answer.
Okay.
My answer is Arden Key.
Oh, yeah. Dang it. Because I texted you about this too.
Don't trade Arden Key.
Whoa. Do trade Arden Key. You're crazy. Don't trade Arden Key.
Don't trade Arden Key.
Oh, it's from SNL?
No, not SNL. That's not what I was.
Shut up. You're wrong, bro.
I was doing Michael Scott does Devil Wears Prada. Come on now.
That's there's levels to that one.
Yeah, there are levels. So don't trade Arden Key. I think you should keep him because I think something has unlocked with Arden Key.
He got help outside the building. Apparently.
And I want that back. If I'm the Titans, I want Arden Key back. This version of Arden Key, whatever happened here, however this happened, I want that back for $6 million next year. Hell yeah.
I want the phone number of who he worked with so I can hire them full time.
That too. No, but I'm serious. Like Arden Key has been phenomenal.
Right. So like he just in case folks aren't aware, he is still under contract. So that's what you're referencing is that they have an out after this year. But they do he's technically under contract through 27 with a couple of void years, but he's really truly under contract next year with that $6.5 million base salary. He'd be a $9.3 million cap hit. You keep talking, but I'm going to pull up what his numbers have looked like week to week because what I texted you was I think on the show, you and I talked after week two. We're like, oh, is Arden Key still serving his suspension? Because where's he been?
He was playing well.
No, he wasn't week 1 and 2. And then week 3, it's like, Arden Key. Week 4, Arden Key. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Every week he has looked better and better. Every single week.
The Titans don't win today without Arden Key.
Agreed.
And Yindis can say, yeah, but bad Patriots O-line is how it happened. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we said it in the pregame show that it's the worst pass rush, pass protection O-line in the whole league behind the Titans.
When he took better advantage of that line than anybody else on the team did. So like,
yes, Harold Landry
had 7 sacks in this game. It was a bad O-line. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, Harold Landry tipped the pass at the end where Baker got away with the pass interference right before the touchdown that was given up. That didn't matter. But but Arden Key, the strip sack, right, allows the Titans to get that 17-10 lead. It was just a menace all over the field. And it's not just because they played the Patriots today, because where'd they go? Who commented the thing about Yindis? Go watch him against the Detroit Lions last week.
Yep.
Just wrecking people. And those offensive lines are pretty good. So I would say do not trade Arden Key. I think you should keep him. So
here are some of his numbers on the year. He has 19 total pressures, 4 total sacks in however many games he's played now. What is that? They played 8 games. He's played in all of them. 9 tackles, 10 run stops. What is FFM? What does that stand for? Ignore that. I don't know what that abbreviation is. He has 2 FFMs, whatever those are. So yeah, I mean, and it's each week he looks better and better. This week against the Patriots, the preliminary numbers, which they go back and adjust, but assuming these are correct from PFF, 6 pressures today, 1 sack, including the strip sack, 5 quarterback hurries, 1 tackle, 2 run stops. Best week of his year.
What the hell is FFM?
I have the key right here. I should probably just look. Forced fumbles made. Oh, that's yeah. So he 2 forced fumbles this year. 1 in each of the past 2 games. They didn't recover the Detroit one, I don't believe, but they did recover the one today.
What's up with the M on the end of it? Forced fumbles made. Stupid.
Yeah, you're right. It could just be
forced fumbles. You don't need the made.
Yeah, you know what? It's a fair point. I'll pass that along to PFF.
That's just PFF trying to be difficult and unique.
That is so cute.
Okay, so Arden Key was my answer. Did you have your official answer? Yeah, on the guy.
No, you got me so sidetracked on Arden Key.
The guy that needs more credit and needs a shout out for the Titans winning this game.
I'll do one that I half believe just to spite you. I'll say Jeffrey Simmons because
great game.
Jeff had a great game of his year. I mean, I can't wait to watch the tape of him because he ended up actually drawing 2 or 3 holding penalties in the middle. There were a couple times where I was like, that's a holding that they just got away with. He was going to murder Drake May 4 or 5 times, if not for some questionable defending on the interior of the line. He was killing their interior with, might I add, a relatively relatively no help, right? Like Sebastian Joseph Day, don't know where he was at today. T'Vondre Sweat. People are going to say like he's been really disappointing lately. You can tell watching him that him being banged up the past couple of weeks have really impacted his play on Sundays, which is just a bummer. Not an excuse, but a reason, right? He's banged up. I don't think his play is actually falling off so much as he's just hurting out there. And talking about hurting, I mean, Jeffrey Simmons had a great day despite being banged up the whole time. We heard from the people watching the sideline up in the press box early in the game. He was getting his elbow, that UCL tear, wrapped up, and then he was getting his ankle wrapped up, and then he went down, got the ankle re-wrapped later in the game. He was battling out there. So a big game from Jeffrey Simmons. And finally on Thursday, we get to talk to the coordinators and not Aston or Wilson, like, what more does Jeffrey Simmons have to do? Because this week he did the things you actually expect from Jeffrey Simmons. He's just got to do it more than 1 week every 2 months.
JQ says SJD was all in the backfield. I thought Sebastian Joseph Day flashed a good bit. I thought the whole defensive front.
I'll take your word for it. I need to go
there was
just
a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people were making some plays. I will say, I mean, if Jeff doesn't get hurt in the fourth quarter, does Drake May have 4 seconds left on the clock to have that game tying touchdown?
A fair question, because
it's a free timeout.
Yeah, I really don't think so. And I also think if Jeff is, because I don't think he was on the field for the actual touchdown play.
He came back. He missed.
So he was on the field.
He missed 1 or 2 plays and then came back on. I don't know if he's on the field for the touchdown, but he came back on that drive.
Okay.
After going out.
Gotcha.
So, look, I mean, the Titans are 2-6. Here is the
just
good
win out.
thing.
You're in the playoffs. Just saying.
Yeah.
Win out. You're 11-6.
But here's the good thing. You won today, and you're still right there when it comes to draft selection.
Nobody has less wins than you still.
Yep.
Nobody has less wins.
I'm seeing if I had this updated.
Okay.
Real quick. And so many Giants, Patriots, Saints, Raiders, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Jags, and Dolphins. Count that. 9 NFL teams have 2 losses. 9. That's crazy.
It's a 9-way race for that number 1 pick. Tiebreakers are the only difference between you having number 1 overall and number 9 overall.
But right now, I guess the Titans are 9th. I don't know how
they are currently 9th. Yes.
I guess it's because they've already had the bye weeks. They have less losses.
It's part of it.
They've got the win over the Dolphins. And so that's why. And then I guess the Jags, whatever that tiebreaker happens to be, I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head.
Divisional record. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But the Titans, I think they're fine. Like, so much football has to happen, right? Because teams are going to win games. Like, the Jags and the Titans both have 2 wins. They have 2 games against each other. The Panthers and the Saints have another game against each other. The Patriots and the Dolphins have another game against each other. The Giants and who else? No, the Giants and the Rams, I think, play. There's everybody plays everybody. Like, it's
also go through the history of number 1 overall picks. Very, very few of them have 0 or 1 win. The number 1 overall pick is typically 2 or 3 wins. Like, it's the NFL. The worst teams in history typically fall into a win or 2 every year.
Yeah. And like Titans and truth, if the Titans lost, they would have been the number 1 pick. Yes, correct. Because they would be miserable and people would be getting fired. The only team, but that's not like it's November 3rd. You have so much opportunity to lose games. So much more opportunity to lose games. And you're going to lose a lot more games.
They have not even played half of their games.
Because here's the thing.
They have 9 games remaining. They've played 8 of them. They have more than half the season left.
Because Will Levis is still going to come back and be this team's starting quarterback.
Sure.
They have 0 wins when Will Levis finishes the game.
And then they're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. It's look, don't freak out. If anything, this was the right week to win a game because the Panthers did too. You're even there. They're going to have a bye week. You're going to lose during their bye week. It's going to even up the losses and everything is going to be fine. So for all the tank people, it's okay. Enjoy a victory. It could be your last. It might not be, but it could be.
Spirit.
No, seriously, it could be.
Sure.
It could be.
Could be.
So Merry Christmas, if that's the case.
All right.
That's crazy. Austin's telling people to be patient. You're going to lose more games. I mean, but like that.
Don't worry. There's so much more losing to be done.
Yes. If you are in the camp of losing or winning today was bad, then chill. You're going to lose more games. Don't worry about it. All right. That's it for us on this post-game show. The Titans are 2-6, not 1-7. Shout out to our great partners. After you like the show, hit the like button. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please like the show. Goes a long way for us. Shout out to our friends at X Golf Nashville, Murfreesboro, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. PlayXGolf.com. BetMGM, where your boy won some money. I put 2 bets out there, $20 a piece, brought in 165. I like that. Nice. BetMGM, log in today to get your Pro Football Boost Pack. I used my boost on the Mason Rudolph over 18.5 completions. You need overtime to get it. That's what they call it, overtime. An official partner of the Tennessee Titans is BetMGM. And T-Dot, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com. That is it for us. There's so much content all over our social media. If you want to watch all of our locker room videos, A2Zsports.com/Titans is where to go. That's where you can also find articles from Sam, from Buck, from Easton coming up here soon. Buck is live tonight, prime time at 7 p.m. Central. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning on a Monday. The first Victory Monday of the year is coming up in the morning. So appreciate you guys. Don't forget to change your clocks, and we'll see you at 8 a.m. Central Time. Appreciate it as always.